Hey everyone, I'm Brandon Lee with Virtualization How To. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're venturing into the world of virtualization in the home lab, you've probably heard of Proxmox VE. With the changing landscape of virtualization solutions, aka the Broadcom purchase of VMware, Proxmox has become a go-to solution for many. When setting up a new Proxmox server in the home lab, today's video, we're diving into the 10 Proxmox tweaks that you need to know to perfectly configure your Proxmox VE server in 2024. So let's get started. First up is updating the update repository to no subscription. We need to ensure that our Proxmox VE server can receive updates without a subscription. By default, it points to the enterprise subscription repositories, which can cause errors during updates. Switching to the no subscription repositories is a great way to use Proxmox in a home lab environment or for testing and not have to have a subscription to keep your instance updated. Also, the Proxmox no PVE subscription repository is required to do things like add the new VMware import utility to add the packages needed for that tool. And we're going to talk about that tool in our list. Number 2 is VLAN-enabling the default bridge. Well, as we all know, networking is a core aspect of virtualization. In fact, enabling VLANs on your default bridge allows your Proxmox host to understand VLAN tagging with virtual machines that you're running in your environment. It also allows you to segment traffic between your virtual machines and have separate networks for different types of workloads, say for your main LAN network, DMZ, your home lab server network, wireless, and any other networks that you want to host or to connect to in Proxmox. Well, number 3 is clustering. Do you have more than one Proxmox host or you want more than one Proxmox host? Then clustering is for you. It allows you to manage compute, network, and storage across multiple hosts as a single logical entity. And when you configure it this way, it helps to enhance performance as well as availability and reliability. What's more, in Proxmox, you don't need a special license to enable clustering or some type of appliance. It's just included. You simply create the cluster, add your Proxmox host, and then you can start setting up HA for your virtual machines. And this sets the stage for more advanced virtualization features that can help eliminate downtime. Well, number 4 is Ceph storage. For storage, Ceph is an incredible choice. It's a distributed storage solution that integrates seamlessly with Proxmox. And what's even better, it's included in the box. It offers a unified storage pool across your node. So you simply add locally attached hard disks to your Proxmox VE hosts in your cluster, and the Ceph storage pool is created from the storage that each host contributes to that overall logical data store. Then your data is either replicated between your hosts or you use what's called erasure coding. You can also configure something called Ceph FS on top of Ceph for file storage. So you can even create file shares that you can present to your Windows or Linux hosts. Be sure to check out my YouTube video on how to install and configure Ceph storage in Proxmox for a walkthrough on this process. Following closely to clustering is high availability. Once you have your cluster configured and you have shared storage like Ceph or NFS or iSCSI, you can enable high availability on your Proxmox virtual machines. Configuring HA helps to minimize downtime if one of your Proxmox cluster hosts goes down or you need to take it down for maintenance. Configuring HA for your virtual machines also ensures that they are automatically restarted on a healthy host in case of a Proxmox host failure. Number 6 is configuring LetsEncrypt on your Proxmox host. When you install a Proxmox host, you will get a self-signed certificate enabled by default. However, you may not have realized this, but one of the really cool things that you can do with Proxmox is configure Let's Encrypt certificates using the Acme process to automatically configure your host and pull down free Let's Encrypt certificates that are trusted. Securing your Proxmox VE interface with Let's Encrypt certificates eliminates SSL warnings, and it's really best practice when it comes to ensuring a secure connection and making sure you don't have man-in-the-middle attacks and all kinds of other SSL attacks that can be carried out with self-signed certificates. Number 7 is configuring two-factor authentication. Proxmox also has built-in two-factor authentication in the solution. Two-factor authentication is a standard today. It's really a must for security purposes. And Proxmox offers several 2FA methods, including TOTP, which we're familiar with. Two-factor authentication also allows you to enable multiple factors of authentication in addition to your username and password. This means that even if your password is compromised, you still have something that is required that you possess. That TOTP generated code, for instance, that allows you to log into your Proxmox host. Number 8, set up Proxmox server monitoring using InfluxDB and Grafana. I love these open source solutions like InfluxDB and Grafana for monitoring various home lab services. Monitoring your Proxmox environment is no different. It's vital for performance and for keeping track of health of the environment. And it really isn't too difficult to set up an InfluxDB monitoring host to pull metrics from your Proxmox server. Then once you integrate your Proxmox host with InfluxDB, it allows you to visualize your data in Grafana. Number 9 is new on the list as of Proxmox 8.1, and that is configuring and setting up Proxmox software-defined networking, or SDN. Proxmox SDN is a new feature, again in 8.1, that allows you to configure a software-defined networking stack that allows you to create networks and software without reconfiguring your physical network to accommodate the new network. You can easily do this with Proxmox SDN, and it allows you to create new networks with software-defined gateways and even use things like source NAT capabilities for internet connectivity. I've written an in-depth blog post covering the steps to configure Proxmox SDN, and I hope to create a video on that process as well soon. So please check out that step-by-step walkthrough of the process. Finally, number 10 is hot off the press, and that is set up the new import tool for VMware ESXi. And if you've seen my last video, I went through this process in depth and detail. Proxmox has recently released a new VMware ESXi import utility that allows you to connect to your VMware ESXi storage, then begin the process to import a powered-off virtual machine to your Proxmox storage. The wizard will automatically import the virtual machine, add it to your Proxmox inventory, and you can even tweak drivers, network settings, and other configuration as you bring VMs over to your Proxmox server. And there you have it, 10 tweaks and tips to set up your Proxmox VE server in 2024. These tweaks and components cover everything from updates and networking to storage, security, and monitoring. Let me know in the comments though if there is something that you do with your Proxmox host that we did not include on this list. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tutorials like this. Drop your questions and experiences with Proxmox in the comments below. Visit the virtualization how-to forums where you can get home lab questions answered and get help if you're stuck using something like Proxmox, VMware vSphere, or anything else in the home lab. Well guys, stay safe out there, keep on home labbing, and I will see you on the next video.